Hello, sport fans. Mauricio here. Well, we've been hired by Best Buy in Spokane to make them a database. What they have now is an Excel file, and it's got thousands and thousands of rows of sales. Uh, for example, these first two rows are for uh, one sale of furniture. So we have well, this says select top 1,000, but we have about 10,000 rows of data all in one stinking pile of filth Excel database. Excuse me, Excel spreadsheet that I uploaded into the Best Buy table inside our database. Now, we've been hired to turn this spreadsheet into a professional database and data entry system. Today, we're just going to create the database and move the data, partition the data into the tables. This is similar to being hired to clean out somebody's garage. First, you take everything out of the garage and stick it in the driveway, and then you make a plan, or hopefully you have a plan before then. And for example, you put all the sporting goods in one corner, all the lawn care in another corner, all the athletic products in another corner, all the clothing, etc., in another corner. So we're doing about the same thing. We're organizing our data, and you can see the data is there's a lot of data here, and that means there's a lot of columns here, and that means there's a lot going on. So the first thing to do is to think, well, what kind of data do I have? And it looks, so I just kind of segmented this. It looks like we have some ordering data, something about some shipping data, customer data, geography data, product data, and product category or subcategory. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least 6 tables. So the first thing to do is to think about is F5? Yeah, F5 works here. The first thing to do is to think about a data model. So here's what I came up with. So we're going to break the customers into 3 segments. It's like small business and corporate and home consumer type thing. And then you got a bunch of customers, geography, which is based on their postal code. And so, second normal form is don't put the geographic data, city, state, country, region. Don't put that geographic data in the customers table because it's really nothing to do with customers. Break it into its own table, and then link it with a foreign key just based on the postal code foreign key in the customers table going to a primary key in the geography table. Similar as orders, I don't have all the columns here, but in the orders table, you wouldn't put a bunch of product information. You just have the product ID, and then you would link that to the products table, and then the products table has all that information about product name and which vendor do you get it from and what's the last time you ordered it and where is it in the warehouse, and everything about products belongs in the products table. And so, first normal form is to have a primary key in each table and no repeating values and one data type per column. And second normal form is section off, segment your data into separate tables. So here's the tables I came up with. And let's see how we move the data into those tables. All right, so we have our Best Buy data, and I'm not going to change that data, and that's only the copy of the data anyway. But let's see what we need to do. All right, so let's get the segments table. Now the segments, there's three types. How did you know there's three types? I'll show you. So how many segments do we have? If we just, again, we have 10,000 rows, so this is going to be a repeating value here. So how do you get just the unique instance of the values for this column? Select distinct. So we have three segments, and so what we're going to do is we're going into the Best Buy table, and so we're going to create a new column. So when you make a select statement, you can use a case inside it to create new columns. That's pretty powerful. So a case statement, now we've been using a case statement inside an update set, and that's just when you're updating an existing column, then it's dependent on conditions. Here we're making a new column. End as column means you're creating a new column. So I want this 1, 2, 3 as my segment ID, and then we'll go back and make that a primary key. I'm sure there's a way to set it as a primary key in code while you're creating it, but I don't know that at the moment. So let's see what this does. All right, so that's exactly what I want. I want the numbers there, 1, 2, 3, and got the segment there, and because, well, let's see, if we didn't have that group by, what would it do? Yeah, that's what I thought. So that's a little hard to wrap my little brain around. So again, not 10,000 rows, and we're just selecting some columns from that table, and without any filtering or select distinct, we're going to get 10,000 rows back. But if we group by, we only get one back. And since that is a little bit hard to wrap your brain around, how that knocked out, how that brought 10,000 rows down to 3, then I find it pretty easy, much easier to understand if we add some metrics. So now the group by kind of makes sense. So group up the total orders, so count the rows, count the rows for corporate. So 3,020. Count the sales for home office, 429,000, etc. So now it kind of makes sense, and big deal. We have a nice result set, but our goal is to create a data model. So you saw the data model. So now we're loading the data into those tables. We're going to create those tables. So select into from creates a new table. How often can you make a new table? Just once. What if you had to do this twice? Then you would have to drop table Best Buy customer segments, and then do it again. But once you make the table, usually you just clear out the data and then add data into it. And that would be an insert into select from. To make a new table, it's select into from. That's a DBA's trick. Select into from. So let's go ahead and run that, and we should get a new table. And let me refresh my thing here and show it to you. All right, so here we go, Best Buy customer segments. I'll select those, and now we've got a Best Buy customer segments table, so one down. But that was pretty nice. We use a case statement to evaluate each value in the segment column and give it a number, 1, 2, or 3. And so that was nice. All right, now we need the customers table. This is a little bit more advanced. Let's take it one step at a time. So we do need a subquery. You're just trying to learn what you can from this video. We're not doing anything like this on assignment, but this is real DBA work. So take a Excel database, that's what people call them. Take a table that really has 6 or 7 entities inside it, break it into a data model, turn it into a database. That's real DBA work. That's done every day. All right, so we need customer information. What was interesting about this, the customers seem to move around quite a bit. Let's see. Yeah, so take a look at this guy, Alex. 55407. So all of these customers are moving around. So where do they really live? Now, if you were doing this as a consulting project, you would go talk to the marketing manager. Hey, give me your customer list. And then I'll upload it somehow, and and we know where they live. What I'm doing, what I'll show in a minute is we're going to. Well, here we go. I sorted this order by order date to sending. All right, so all of these orders for Alex here is descending, which means the most recent one is on top. So I'm putting a bet that now Alex lives in postal code 55407. So I'll explain that in a minute, but we add a row number here inside a window, so the numbers should start over when you get to the next customer. So the next customer, Alan, we're going to number their line item purchases. So by sorting the line items by order date, we're making an assumption that that's where they live now. Now, I wouldn't do that. We're doing what we can with the data. Let's say you did this over the weekend or at night, and then the next day you go back and say, well, this is what I have, but come on, this isn't, give me your customer list. Oh, we don't have one. Okay. Well, we'll just use their most recent address. How's that? Okay, that's the best we can do. All right, so let's see. So select, and there we go. So customer ID, customer name. When I want to get their, so we don't have segment ID in the BestBuy table, by the way. There's a segment here somewhere, but there's no segment ID. So what are we going to do? Yeah, here it is. So we want to store the data by segment ID. So let's use our case statement trick again. We can make new columns inside a select statement. You can make new columns, and then we'll get the postal code and order date, and then this row number adds row numbers. So as row number, that's our column name, and so do this row number over and partition it by customer. So start over every customer, and order these rows by the order date, descending with the highest one on top. And so all of that creates this nice data set, and we're going to take it further in the next video. Take care.